Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 91. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, the next president of the United States, Montrell Rice.
Fucking wish.
How are you doing, man? Do you really wish that? Come on, bro. That's a stressful job, man.
Man,
Oof.
I wish.
You're going to get immediately debriefed about what China's doing behind closed doors, trying to fuck our infrastructure up,
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to learn about all this shit. All these conspiracy theories are true. Yes, you're going to learn that on day one.
Can't be that bad. All these old people still living. So.
That's true. Yeah, you'd think they'd die of a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
Well, we are recording on election night, so just wanted to get that one little reference in there. We will not talk about it again for the rest of this show. So, Montrell, how are you doing, man? Yeah.
Well, I just started this new job, so I had anxiety from that, and then the election coincided with the same day as me starting my new job. So safe to say I only got 3 hours of sleep last night. So
you're hopped up on 5-hour energy right now?
I'm hopped up off Coca-Cola right now.
Perfect, man.
I've been drinking water all day, and then
Coca-Cola tonight.
Yeah,
I
Coca-Cola
mean, look, man.
tonight.
Soda is my alcohol, so it's just man, when I'm stressed, I just start pounding them. It's horrible. It's really bad, but
yeah,
I
try to go a couple of days without drinking soda, but today is just it's not my day. So I mean, work was okay, but it's just I've been kind of glued to my phone looking at well, I try to stay not glued to my phone actually, but every time I go back to my phone, it's election results or election stuff for this election. I'm and I know 4 years ago I couldn't vote because I just moved out here, and so when all that happened, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? And this is the worst timeline, like you said. This is
we're the failed timeline.
Yeah, really the Zelda defeated timeline,
or the community darkest timeline. Abed's got one arm. That's our timeline. Yeah. Well, I do have an opinion of yours that I need to ask you about.
Okay.
Is that you were talking some mad shit about Bugsnax last week, and I just need to understand, what has this game done to you?
It looks so, and this is, what? I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but it looks so fucking stupid. And I actually tried to watch gameplay video or whatever the fuck they showed, and it's not like Octodad. Like Octodad, you had an objective, right? It was just you're grabbing shit and you're trying to get to the next point. This genuinely looks stupid, and I'm I don't get it. They're just being quirky for the sake of being quirky. And I'm
it is feel like a try hard thing where they're trying really hard to be viral. They want to go viral. It kind of worked when the game was initially announced. There's a segment of the internet that really loves this game. But it's based off nothing. We don't even really know what the game is. It
looks like it's going to be a Moon Harvest type game. Like a build your community type deal or something of that nature. That's what it looks like to me. It's going to be a pseudo Stardust Valley Harvest Moon type deal.
Yeah, but I think it's a first-person game, so I'm not sure how that even fits in. Their self-described thing mentions that the game is first person and that it is a narrative-driven adventure. So I don't know what that means from what we've seen of the game, the footage we've seen. So I mean, yeah, but you were coming out hard at it, man.
Nerdy Sage asked me if I need to play it, and I was like, yo, I'll give you my firearm and you can shoot me in the face. That's
right. It was pretty harsh, dude. That was
no.
I mean, I feel you. There are certain games where I would probably tell you the same thing. I'm trying to think of one right now. Oh man. Oh, what's a good one for me? Madden, I guess. That's it. Madden Ultimate Team. Madden Ultimate Team.
Oh, Ultimate Team. Okay.
Ultimate Team specifically. Please shoot me before you make me play that. I would rather die.
The new Madden on the new console though, because I am waiting for your analysis on that shit.
Yeah, just see how unupgraded it is, and it's just
I just want you to go in franchise mode. That's it.
You need a bona fide. You need a bona fide Justin Madden rant. We need one of those.
Bro, I will give you 1 week.
Yeah.
To just make a whole rant and that would be the podcast episode.
Yeah,
It would be
that'd be
like
the
a
whole
30-minute
episode. It'd just
rant.
be a solo episode. All right, guys. Justin here this week. Montrell's not joining me because I'm going to be screaming a lot this episode. Like at this point, it's become, I need to patent it. The patented Justin Madden rant. You know, it's just,
Yes.
that's what it's turning into on this show. I'm sure people roll their eyes whenever we start talking about Madden because I got nothing good to say. So, no, I do need to play this game. It's just like, I don't, like, man, when am I going to fit it in? You know, it's like, I can't, like, I'm going to justify playing a game I don't want to play. You know, it's like, I
It's
understand I'm
football.
doing
You
it
know
for
you
the
want to play
show.
it. You know you
I
want to
know,
play
but
it. It's football.
I know, but man, I'm gonna pay $70 for that shit. Like, no,
That's true. That is a steep price to pay.
no,
Yeah.
man, dude.
Well,
The
just
only
think
time,
it's a one-time purchase. Like you don't have to buy it anymore. Like that's what I'm gonna do with 2K. I already promised DJ I'm gonna buy 2K this year for PS5.
yeah,
Um, so
just to
I'm
see
gonna
it.
play it just to see how it is and see if they change stuff and everything like that nature. So I'm gonna do it. And plus I haven't played 2K in like about 5 or 6 years. It's been
Mhm.
about 4
It's been
years now.
3 for me with Madden,
Okay.
so a little bit more recent, but yeah, I mean, geez, I don't know if I can put myself through that, but we'll see, guys. We'll see. Usually, see, the thing with Madden is if I decide to buy it in any given year, I usually wait till Black Friday because then it's on sale for like $25,
Oh
and I
yeah,
can
just do
I
that.
can
Yeah.
justify that. But the problem is that's not going to happen this year because it's going to be out on new consoles, right?
Oh yeah,
So
that's true.
they're going to
Yeah.
be 70 at best. If we're lucky, they'll get down to 50, on the new
Yeah.
consoles. But I don't even expect that. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a little questionable in terms of purchasing it. So yeah, well, man, it's been a weird week. I'll be honest with you. Same thing for me. Like my power went out yesterday for about 4 hours, and yeah, it was
Why?
it. God, fuck if I know, dude. Like one of your like our old coworkers. He lives near me, and his power went out at the same time, and his came back up within 10 minutes, and then mine was out for another 3 hours and 45 minutes after that, and I was just like, yeah, this is my 2020 in a nutshell. It just everything's just a kick to the balls every
Yeah.
time, So yeah, it was great, but came on around 8 o'clock, so my night wasn't ruined, but it was annoying to say the least. But this is not a Justin Montrell life show. We just do that at the beginning of the show. This, for those of you who haven't listened before, is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. Also, we didn't talk about this pre-show, so we haven't made like a definitive decision on this yet. But YouTube, we are kind of in the midst of debating discontinuing the full show posts on YouTube, which have been going up 6 a.m. Mondays, but we have not been getting very many hits on them. So we're thinking about doing something a little different with those, maybe doing some topic breakouts potentially
Yeah.
on there. So if you watch on YouTube, and you will be very upset if we discontinue the YouTube Mondays, let us know. But I sincerely doubt any of you are really listening on YouTube a lot because we get like 2 hits and that's it.
Yeah.
So
What I plan on doing, which is another good suggestion by my friend, I may still put segments of the podcast up, and I may put like video games or some kind of images related to what we're talking about throughout the video, kind of edit it a little bit, and just have that one section of like the really good conversation piece of that
mhm,
that week's podcast or something of that
no,
nature. So,
right.
I mean, you may get those, but yeah, we're trying to. I think we're going to change focus on it because we're only getting like the videos are super long, and granted, even on YouTube for me, I don't watch super long videos on YouTube unless it's a live stream. So I think that's why it's not really hitting as much
Mhm.
as it should be. If that makes any sense. Um,
Right. And I mean, the videos aren't like hyper edited. They're just, I mean, it's just gameplay over the audio
yeah,
or under the audio. So it's not, yeah. I mean, we're not putting a huge amount of effort into them. So I didn't expect them to do like super great. But, we have to be judicious with our time because we both have full time jobs. So every like minute that we put into this podcast outside of our jobs like is valuable to us. So it needs to be things that really actually move the needle. And I think we need to do a different kind of thing with what we're doing on YouTube. So once we figure that out, I think we'll make sure we mention it here on the show. But just wanted to point that out if some of you have been watching or listening on YouTube. All right, let's get started. Like we always do with what we've been playing. Montrell, would you like to go first this week?
Yeah, I've been playing God of War, and I've been playing. I only played like a couple, like maybe 2 hours of God of War. So don't ask me what. I'm on the part where you're like that. It's dead giant, and there's like an elevator, and you got to keep everybody off the elevator before the elevator falls.
Okay.
Yeah,
which you're pretty far.
Okay, yeah, and I'm hating that shit because what the fuck, that part is like really.
Yeah, you're on the elevator and there's like a bunch of enemies that spawn.
Yeah, and you gotta fight them before the elevator like collapses on you or something of that nature. Like it has energy or something like that, and you gotta.
Damn, yeah, I think you're pretty far, dude. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was that far. So
I might be wrong. I might be misremembering. I mean,
I think I'm like dead center in the middle.
Yeah, that game is super long, dude. So I might be misremembering where that was in the narrative, but it's a pretty decent length into the game. So for sure. Yeah, I would wager you're at least halfway. Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to dig too deep into that since, you've only played a couple hours. But Montrell, don't put this game down again. That's all I'm going to say. Like, stop putting it down. Just beat it, man. Just beat it.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and try. And then I've been playing a little bit. I only play like an hour of Genshin Impact. Mm-hmm. I haven't really been feeling it that much. And I've been playing League of Legends a lot with my friends. I know I was supposed to hit you up on Sunday. I honestly forgot. We were playing, and then we found like 2 other people in chat that we were just playing with, and we were just playing like with a full party for about an hour, for about 2 hours. And we were
I had a miserable Sunday, so I'm not even sure I would have been in the mood to play.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been doing.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, not much new for me. I've been playing Genshin Impact. I've kind of turned into just like a degenerate for this game at this point. It's all I've played this past week. It's like comfort food for me as I like it's like my de-stressing game at this point where I'm like if I'm feeling stressed I want to play Genshin Impact. It's kind of where it's turned into. So I put a lot of hours into this game actually. I'm like adventure rank 38. Working my way towards 39. I'm almost out of content at this point. But I got most of my main party up to 70, and they are prepared for the next jump in levels once I hit adventure rank 40. So I've been putting a lot of work in this game, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. I'm going to be honest, the end game in this game is actually very interesting. If it wasn't so restrictive, it's a really fucking fun loop. The builds you can put together with the characters are very interesting, and they really start to come together at a certain point.
Okay.
And I started doing Spiral Abyss last night, which is like the kind of end game challenge dungeon kind of thing. And man, it's not easy, dude. Like it's pretty tough. I got through the 8th floor last night, and there's 12 floors total, and I struggled through the last 2 floors. So, and I was pretty much level appropriate for it. Yeah, it's pretty challenging. So you have to put some pretty diverse teams together. You need a lot of different elements, and you need 2 different teams as well for the later floors of Spiral Abyss. So you need 8 characters total to kind of take it on, and you really need those teams to be fleshed out. Like you can't just run in with like Garbo on half the team. You really kind of need like 3 solid characters, I'd say, on each team at bare minimum, and then the 4th one could kind of just be like an elemental filler that's there to like break shields and stuff. But for the most part, yeah, you definitely need a dedicated damage dealer, dedicated healer, and you really need some kind of like support CC kind of character, I'd say as well. So yeah, it does get pretty complex, and it is very interesting and challenging and fun. So the potential in this game is very high. I'm really looking forward to future content with it. I think later on in this game's life, they're going to start putting events and stuff together that are going to be very difficult. Once people have played long enough where they can have a maxed out party that's like really like level 90, everything's 90, like everything's fucking maxed out, all talents are like leveled up and shit. That's going to be a point in the game where I think is really going to be very enjoyable to experience. So I'm definitely still into this game. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm kind of in a holding pattern, like I said last week, waiting for PS5. I'm not really looking to start anything new at this point, so I'm probably going to be playing this game until PS5 drops. But yeah, so I'll have more thoughts on it if anything new to say next week. All right. Well, I guess that's it for what we've been playing. Let's move on into the news. Let us start with Nintendo. So last week, I think it was right after we recorded, honestly, like the day after we recorded.
Yeah.
Nintendo dropped a Nintendo Direct Mini. This was an 18-minute presentation where they showed a bunch of third-party games that are coming to Switch. And there was some interesting stuff on here. I don't want to go through every single game. So, Montrell, do you want to kind of point out anything that was like kind of interesting to you that really stuck out from this presentation?
The ones that really stuck out for me, honestly, were the No More Heroes.
Yeah, No
Um,
More Heroes 3.
yeah, and they're re-adding the 1 and 2. They remastered it for the
Yep.
Switch.
Yep.
I played a little bit of No More Heroes 1. I didn't play No More Heroes 2. I really liked the game. It's just I'd never finished it. I actually literally have it on my Wii. I still have my Wii, and I have it. And I just never like played it because I'm like I'm not about to fucking touch my Wii.
Yep.
But now I may buy it on the Switch and just play it because it looks really cool.
Was this a
Uh,
motion control game on the Wii?
it was, and that's why it kind of turned me off. And on this game, they kind of made it more. From what I hear, you can play it without the motion controls, which is really cool because
Yeah,
it's one of those cool, flashy action games, and I actually love those type of I love those type of games. So,
of course. Right.
um, I'm really looking forward to that. One thing that really surprised me was that Bakugan.
Yeah.
Uh, that game actually looks pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I I may want to play it because I mean, I didn't know they had like monsters on the field.
Well,
Like,
okay. So what is this game like? What does it look like? Is it like a turn-based strategy game? Is it like a
it looks like Pokemon,
okay,
but you can build a team.
but better?
Yeah, like you can build a
Yeah.
team, and then the monsters actually move on the field and stuff like that. Like
Okay.
I think they're being controlled by themselves. But they move on the field and do crazy
Oh,
shit.
so is it that sounds like Nino Kuni? Is that kind of what it is, or kind of what it's like?
Sort of, kind of. Like when you look at the gameplay, it looks like I don't know. It looks like Pokemon, but like it looks like everyone's moving by themselves. Like I can't really describe it to you. Like the monsters
Yeah,
are
they're not
moving.
being directly controlled by the player.
Yeah, I think it's determined on your stats how they react to certain things and things of that nature.
Okay. 'Cause, yeah, that's
Um,
what Nino Kuni did.
okay.
You didn't directly control the monsters you put on the field. You could give them commands and they would do them, but they would act on their own if you didn't do anything.
Yeah, so I think it's the same way with this game as well. Um, so yeah, I'm interested in seeing how that plays out. And why the fuck hasn't Pokemon done this? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not about to get into my Pokemon rant,
Yeah, man.
but
Go kick the hornet's nest.
yeah, but it looks like it's going to be real cool. It looks like a combination between like Monster Rancher, fucking Robo Custom Robo, and Pokemon.
Mhm.
So it looks really cool. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, yeah, there was some other notable things. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity,
Oh yeah, and that's
which
another one too. That looks really cool. I think I'm gonna
that is
actually buy
actually,
that.
I think it already has a demo in the eShop. So if you want to check that out, you have an opportunity to. So that's pretty cool. I think that means they're fairly confident in this game. I will say, I've seen some footage of it, and I'm like, damn, this looks better than Breath of the Wild. Like the combat part of it, at least, does.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is primarily a combat game, so I would kind of hope so. But at the same time, it makes you wonder, like, damn, they're doing this in like the Breath of the Wild engine. Like, can they incorporate some of this into Breath of the Wild too? Like, um, but yeah, that's coming on November 20th. So if you're looking forward to that, and then there were two games. This is a first, and we don't really know Like we don't actually, this one of them's out. So Control and then Hitman 3 were both announced for Switch, but they're called cloud versions of the game. And I mean, I'm assuming this means the game's streamed. Like you can't play it like a traditional game on the Switch. Like it's not running natively on your Switch. You're streaming it like you would PlayStation Now or xCloud or something like that. But what I don't know is like, are you buying this game outright? And then you're having to stream it to play it? Because that seems
I'll be
questionable.
honest. I didn't even know Switch had a cloud service. I
I
didn't
mean, it
know.
doesn't. That's what's so weird about this. Like, I mean, okay, as far as I understand it, some games have come out in Japan. Cloud versions of games have come out in Japan. I don't know the exact list of games, but everybody talking about this has said this is the first time in the West this is happening. So I'm assuming with that wording, that means that they've done this in the past in other ways in other territories. But yeah, they don't have a cloud service per se. Like they don't have a PlayStation Now or a xCloud like equivalent service. It just sounds like the game is being delivered via some sort of cloud service that is running in the background, that either Nintendo operates or pays for. I don't really know. I'd almost like to do some more research into this to find out, because I find this fascinating. Like it just kind of came out of nowhere, dude. Like they're just doing this, and if this is their solution to the power problem that the Switch is going to have with these next gen consoles coming out,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that. You know, I don't really personally. That does not excite me. If if this is going to be a common thing going forward with third party games on the Switch, I think that might be a problem for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Because
agree. I don't. I
yeah,
don't think. I'm just not into streaming games, and I know some people say like the lag isn't bad, the input delay isn't bad, and things of that nature. It's just like I'm very skeptical of things of that nature, of things like that. I just really don't think we have the infrastructure for. I always say that we don't have the infrastructure for it.
yeah,
But I mean, I just think streaming games is a good alternative to it.
yeah,
But I would prefer to play it like if you have another console or a computer or something of that nature, just play it on. Like, because I know some people, their Switch is their sole console, and that's all they have, and that's all they can
yeah,
afford.
hmm
Um, and like more power to y'all. And I understand that you can't go out and buy an Xbox or whatever because you probably don't have the money or something like that.
hmm
Um, but I recommend people like now, especially now, if you can't afford those things and you do have a Switch as your only console, you can buy
hmm
like a companion console like an Xbox One for like almost $150 now. It's that cheap. And play some of these third party games like Control. Control is really good. I
yeah,
wouldn't play a cloud version of it though. Like that's just my opinion.
yeah, yeah. So okay. So there's a few things about this that I'm finding out here. So the game, an quote unlimited access pass is what it's called for Control Ultimate Edition on Switch, will cost $39.99, so $40 for
Okay.
this game. So you have to pay for the game up front, and then you can play it on the cloud. I think you can play it somewhat for free, without paying anything, but I don't know what that consists of. That's just on Nintendo's website. You can download the game for free,
Okay.
and do. I'm gonna guess you can play a little bit of it potentially just to see how it plays. So there's that. And the fact that the size of the game is 98 megabytes on the eShop. And I didn't think about it from that angle, is that Control literally would not fit on the Switch if it wasn't in the cloud, right? Like that's a big ass game, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that game is well over 50 gigabytes on PlayStation 4 and Xbox, right? So that's kind of another interesting caveat with the Switch, is that Nintendo kind of put them back themselves into a corner with that element of the Switch, is that all Switches have 32 gigs of space inherent to the console, which is literally nothing. We're talking about Call of Duty being 250 gigabytes. I mean, games being 50 gigs or more is very, very common at this point in time.
Yeah.
And Nintendo is way behind the curve with that, and they always have been. But like this is we're at a point now where like they're just way behind. Like you literally can't have a Switch without having a SD card, like a micro SD card, as extra storage on it. It's just
Yeah.
not feasible. So that might be another reason they did this, is that it allows them to have the game on the Switch without having to require that from their users. But man, I mean, like I said, if this is the common solution for third-party games that are large, can't run on the Switch natively, I mean, I guess it's a nice happy medium where it's like at least you're getting the game in some form. But to me, I find this very unattractive, because what worries me about it is that it's going to be a thing where developers are just going to be like, well, fuck it, like we don't have to figure out how to make it run on the Switch. We can just let Nintendo's cloud, do it, even if they could get it running on the Switch, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about this, but it was a very interesting thing to come out of the Nintendo Direct for sure.
Yeah, and they kind of abruptly did it, which means, in my opinion, they don't have too much faith in it. Like
Yeah,
the cloud
right.
thing, like when companies usually just drop something like this, unless it's like Fallout 4 or some shit like that, like they usually don't have faith in that product like that, and they've been real quiet. I haven't really been seeing too much buzz about it. Like usually when Nintendo does something, people will either love it or hate it. But what's funny is I haven't been seeing any of both, right? I just been seeing like a meh, the controls on Switch now, cloud version, and it's
Right.
like I just haven't even seen anything about it.
Like, that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. A couple other interesting things. Immortals Phoenix Rising was shown. I know this. I'm pretty sure this was announced for Switch a while ago, but them showing a trailer of it confirms it. It's coming on December 3rd, just like the other releases. So this is an interesting one though, because I mean, this is like a direct copy / competitor to Breath of the Wild on Nintendo's console. So I'll be interested to see how it does. Because if this game picks up steam on the Switch, it could really actually get like some pretty big sales. So
Yeah.
if it has that same appeal that Breath of the Wild did, so I'll be interested to see that. And then Bravely Default 2 from Square Enix, which was announced for a release date of February 26, 2021. It is coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch on that date. So just like Octopath Traveler, we got another Square Enix exclusive, which to me, kind of frankly, is disappointing, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because I think Bravely Default has an appeal way outside of the Switch user base. Like, I think this game would sell like crazy on the PlayStation, and I kind of feel like Square is leaving some money on the table here at this point. Like, the first two games were on 3DS, and I guess that kind of made sense, but at this point, I mean, I don't know. I do feel like I find it strange that they're doing an exclusive deal with Nintendo, but whatever the case, that it is exclusive. So, did you ever play either Bravely Default game? And do you have any interest in this one?
Uh, this one I do have some interest in. I wasn't a fan of the first one. The art style, it
Yeah,
was just turning me off. Uh,
it didn't look great.
yeah, the chibi people were like really turning me off. Um, but this one, the art style looks kind of more aligned with the traditional JRPG. Um,
Yeah,
and I don't mind the turn based system. I mean, I think the turn based combat looks actually pretty quick to where you can do combos
yeah.
and stuff like that. So
This game was really, honestly, in terms of turn based. I hate turn based combat in JRPGs, like
mhm.
traditional, like old Final Fantasy turn based combat. This game is one of the few that I could tolerate. Like, it is really well done in this game. Like, it's actually a very fun system. So,
Okay.
because you can like save your turns basically, and then you can use like 4 turns in a row. That was how the first game played. I don't know how they're doing it in the second one, but um, and it really created this like really interesting strategy element, is that you have like one party member kind of always building their turns up, and then you kind of switch who's doing that over the course of the battle,
Yeah.
and adjust yourself depending on what you need at any given moment. So I thought it was very good. The story in the first Bravely Default was also bonkers as shit. It's a really funny game because it's like a really straightforward video game for like, I'd say like 60% of its runtime, and then all of a sudden it just goes off the fucking rails and never gets back on them. Like, it's just completely insane. So yeah, it's like, honestly, I would recommend it just for that experience, because once you get to the point that I'm talking about, where like the traditional, where you think the game is really ending, it kind of like restarts again, and all of a sudden you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's pretty insane. So But yeah, I do recommend that game. So I don't know. I might check this out. Bravely Second, I never really cared for because Square marketed it weird, and I don't know, it just didn't appeal. So this one though, I might jump into again. I'm kind of am feeling a little bit of an itch for something like Bravely Default. So
Okay.
so there's that one. There were a few more games here. Nothing too big. So check out that Nintendo Direct though if you're interested in anything that we talked about, just to see the trailers. So
Sorry
all right,
guys, I am really trying to amp up my energy right now. It's just, man, this is a rough day for me.
Montrell, man, I told you before the show, close the fucking
Yeah,
election.
I do have it
Have
closed. I have it
bro.
closed. I have it closed. It's closed. It's closed. I'm just
Okay,
antsy.
all right, yeah,
But
he's.
yeah, let's go. Let's go. All right, let's
Let's
go.
go, baby.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. We're talking about
Halo,
Halo. All
Halo
right, let's
now.
go.
Yeah.
Halo now. It's Halo time. Halo news. It's time to speculate. Let's go. All right. So last time we talked about Halo was when Joe Staten joined the team, rejoined the team because he was an original Bungie developer that worked on Halo back in the day, and he rejoined the team. And this, what was kind of announced this past week, seems like the kind of other side of that coin, where Chris Lee basically has confirmed that he is no longer working on Halo Infinite. He said he, quote, stepped back from Infinite, which, I mean, essentially means he's not working on the project anymore. So I kind of want to ask you, like, what does this mean to you for the game? Are you worried about the game more or less based off this news?
um, it's a slippery slope. Because honestly, 343 hasn't been doing a good job with Halo. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just be honest about as much as I love Halo. You know, I'm a Halo fanboy.
Yeah.
I was actually just tweeting about it the other day. Um, I have not been happy with the series. I think they did Halo 5 campaign was one of the biggest injustices of Halo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the multiplayer is actually better than Halo 2 and 3, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Just the way they handled that game, 343 handled that game. The sacrifices they made for it were not worth it. Like the sacrificing the split screen for the 60 FPS. Like I think Halo fans would have been cool with the 30 FPS. We would have been cool with that. Halo's been 30
Yeah.
FPS and we would have been cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
The butchering of the Master Chief Collection upon launch. Now it's better, but upon launch,
Yeah.
it was fucking horrendous. I just don't think 343, even though they're ex Bungie, a lot of them are ex Bungie employees. I know people in the comments will be like, "Oh, well, you know, Montreal, they're ex Bungie employees." Like, I don't think
Yeah.
this these people from Bungie were like, no offense to them, I just think they're their backup squad. Like, there's if Bungie was a football quarterback, right? They're not Tom Brady. They're the backup quarterback. Like that's what they got. They got the backup quarterback squad.
Yeah, they're Andy Dalton and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, exactly. Um, um, and now that we are starting to get some of the pieces back from Bungie, I wouldn't be surprised within the next couple months that we start seeing, like, since they already got like some kind of partnership with them, that we start seeing like Bungie employees go back and forth between the studios, like secretly, right? Like maybe under some kind of contract NDA type shit where they can't.
Or just consulting. I mean, that's
Yeah,
not
consulting.
abnormal.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing that. Since the relationship, it seems like it's good with Microsoft again. I wouldn't mind seeing that, and I think the fans wouldn't mind seeing that either. Because I gave him a chance. Like I understand 343 was new when Halo 4 came out, so I was like, you know what, I'm giving you guys a chance. You guys this is like your first game. But that Master Chief Collection, I won't say Halo 5 because I think they genuinely did a good job in the multiplayer of Halo 5. Even the pay to win card system of Warzone, like I thought that mode was actually pretty fun as well. And they have a separate team battle mode where you don't have to have like any cards or whatever the case may be for that.
Yeah.
So I thought that game was handled pretty well multiplayer wise. Once again, the single player though was just horrendous. It's like, and then for the Master Chief Collection, the campaigns and the actual remastering of those games, phenomenal. Like
Mm.
great across the board. Single player campaigns all intact, especially the Halo 2 Anniversary Collection where they completely remade the game from the ground up. Crazy. Um, and then you can switch it between back and forth like you can on the Halo Anniversary Collection as well, because they also did that for the Halo Reach, Halo CE, and Halo Reach collection. They remastered and remade assets on Halo, the original game, to where you can switch back between the current graphics and the new graphics, and that was pretty cool. So they did that for Halo 1 and Halo 2. It's just the multiplayer, like it's like they flip flopped on both of them. Like Halo 5 multiplayer was really good, and then Halo Master Chief Collection was really bad the way they handled the multiplayer and the matchmaking. So
Yeah.
I just think, yeah, new leadership. I think Xbox really needs to look at them and be like, hey, now we need to start holding your feet to the fire, because guys, you've been fucking up. You've been giving me 50% effort on both ends. We need everything firing, all pistols, all cylinders firing on both ends. We need multiplayer and single player, because Halo is one of those rare games where people go to it for both. I mean, I know we say Call of Duty, but honestly, people don't really care about this. There are plenty of people who just never play the campaigns of Call of
Yeah.
Duty. Whereas with Halo, people genuinely love the lore, campaign, and the multiplayer. Like it's a perfect package, and they're fucking it up. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a weird spot with this game at this point, because I see what you're saying about them maybe not having the talent necessary to live up to this franchise, and that seems obvious at this point. But I also think a lot of this, I think a lot of the things we've been seeing with this game and the studio lately is that the leadership might not have been the ones up to snuff,
yeah,
where they're taking out directors, the creative director left last year. Like there's been a lot of leadership changes at 343, and it feels like the studio might have been mismanaged. And with all the rumors we've heard about how many contractors they have on these games, and that these people are coming in for a year and leaving, and it's just like all sorts of nonsense going on with the studio. It's just like it seems like people don't want to stay here for whatever reason, and
yeah,
that kind of turmoil within a studio is going to make it really difficult to make a game effectively, because you're constantly having to train new people up and like acclimate them to your tools and where you are with the game and what you need done in any given period of time,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't I don't know. It's just it's a hard position to be in, because I put some of that on Microsoft. Obviously, it's like they need to recognize that this studio is not being run well. On one hand, and on the other hand, it's like the studio is still not doing a good job on their own. So it's like Microsoft needs to get more hands on. I agree with you. What you said there is that they need to get in here and really understand what the studio is doing on a day to day basis. Like
yeah.
honestly,
They needed to pull an EA with they did with BioWare. Like they need
right?
to step
And
in.
yeah, and hold them accountable.
Yeah,
It's like if they're not doing their jobs to the way that they should be, that they're supposed to be, that like Microsoft is expecting, then they need to hold people accountable to that. And I think bringing in these new people, which I mean, one of these guys is an old veteran, I think is a good move. But it does make me wonder about the game. Is that I mean, are we going to have a severe change of direction on what this game is after what we've already seen? And if we do have that, does that mean this game is going to get delayed even further? Like, will it
I
even come out next year?
yeah, I'm predicting that it won't come out next year.
I was saying that from the jump, but I mean, the more we see about this, the more it makes me wonder. Like this new director is going to want to make the game in his own image, and he's going
Yeah,
to have his own vision for what this is and what it should be. And that could mean that there's going to be major rewrites to the story, which would require major rewrites or major redesigns of environments, levels, enemies, even, all
well,
sorts of
I
stuff.
don't. I was looking at the gameplay, and a lot of people weren't even complaining about the gameplay. They were just complaining about the graphics. And I think, honestly, I think what Xbox is doing right now is an over. exaggeration. They're over what's the word I'm looking
Compensating.
for? Yeah, they're overcompensating. I think what they need to do is just go back to the traditional way of making games. I understand they're trying to show off the hardware for Xbox by using that dynamic lighting because that's what the whole trailer was for. That's why
Mm.
graphics were looking bad. I mean, I can get into the technical shit about it, but there's a whole fucking Digital Foundry video of why the game does not look appealing to the natural eye. Tech wise, the game was like people were like, "This is phenomenal! Like this is fucking dynamic lighting! Like
Yeah. Yeah.
whoa!" Like, and if you understand what dynamic lighting is, then you'll understand. But if you don't, you're just like a regular person, which 90% of us are. Like you, like this looks like fucking shit. I see Gray the group on there, the brute on there. So it's like, what the fuck? So I think what they need to do is speed up the gameplay. That's my major criticism of it. Keep the whole open world feel. You can even keep the same timeline that you had everything. I just think they need to start. They need to redirect how they the lighting engine, the graphical engine. They just need to redo that.
Mhm.
And I don't think that would take that long. If they keep it that way. Now, if they're
Mhm.
trying to do like a total rehaul, then yeah, they probably delay it. But I think the idea that they have and what they showed looked good as far as game. It looks like a Halo game. I
Yeah.
just think they need to make. They can make it more. This is gonna sound real fucking bad. They need to make it more Destiny-ish, in my opinion. Like they do
I mean,
because
they can
Destiny.
learn. No, they can learn. I get what you're saying. You're not saying in like a even an aesthetic or like a. You're talking mechanically, like more like
Yeah,
Destiny, right?
yeah. Like
And
Destiny.
and
If you let the gameplay speed of Destiny and like the original Halos, they go part like especially Reach. Oh, that's a good example.
yeah.
Halo Reach and Destiny are. I call Halo Reach the Destiny beta because those assets. I mean, the gameplay looks exactly like fucking Destiny,
Yeah.
and vice versa. They can take like the core premise of Destiny, like all these cool, like you said, mechanics and stuff like that, and
The feel of the
implement.
game, like, dude, Destiny, like, I don't think anyone can deny this. I think Destiny is one of, if not the best feeling shooters, period,
Yeah, yeah,
in the entire industry. Like, it feels fucking great to play, which is why so many people play it.
yep,
Shooters
exactly.
do not feel as good as that game. Straight up, like, no, there's no, like, sorry, COD, but like to me, Destiny is the game. Like it mechanically is sound, movement's great, everything about it is just smooth. You know, it just
Yeah,
feels smooth.
exactly. Yeah,
Shooting is smooth, all of it. Like it just feels really good to play. So I understand what you're saying there, where like Halo didn't really look that refined in terms of
it,
the gameplay.
it looked more traditionalist,
Yeah.
which I hated because Halo 5 was going away. It was using the traditional feel of Halo, but it added a lot of movement, like the boost, the jetpacks, and stuff like that. Like they didn't take away from the core gameplay of Halo, and I feel like they want to step away from Halo 5 so much that they took that away. And I think that was the best move for Halo to move forward in. And they took all that away. And I'm like, oh, we're just gonna go back to Halo 3 and 4. And it's like, I don't want you to go back to that. I want you to improve upon what you did. Because Halo 4, right, had this jetpack thing that takes you out. You can dodge to the left and right, but it took you out of first person, and it was really janky. And then Halo 5 kept the dodge where you can dodge left and right with the jetpack or whatever, but you were in first person, and you
Mhm.
felt like you felt like a Spartan, bro. Like I can't explain it to you. Um, I'll probably actually I'm gonna clip this and I'm gonna put gameplay footage of us talking about Halo on the next YouTube. That's gonna be the next YouTube video. But
Yeah.
because I have video footage of me playing Halo 5. And
Okay.
you will
Yeah.
see exactly what I'm talking about, where as far as the movement is just so vastly improved. And I felt like that's where Halo needed to go without taking the core of Halo out. So it doesn't need to be Destiny-ish, but they took motivation like as far as like movement wise, if that makes any sense
Mhm.
because Destiny has core things like the little blink move and all
The
this
double
shit.
jump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the double jump, all this shit that like that doesn't take away from the core gameplay. It's just hard to explain. Like you said, it's one of the best feeling first person shooters I played. That's why for me, it's hard to go to. I'm kind of over the first person thing because I put so many fucking hours into Destiny to
Yeah.
where it's like that is the primo first person. Even Destiny 2, like that's the primo like version of like first person
Yeah.
shooters to me, in my opinion. So
Yeah, and it does make it hard with that genre for me, where it's like Apex Legends, honestly, is up there.
yeah, that's another game. Yeah, that's a good
In
example.
terms of that control, and that honestly has spoiled me, where it's like playing a game like PUBG feels like you're fucking in quicksand like constantly, you know?
Yeah,
It's like playing a game of that caliber versus like Apex or Destiny. It's like a joke, dude. Like it doesn't even remotely compare, you know? And the game's going for something different than those two games, but at the same time, like there's no smoothness to your movement though. It's
yeah.
like janky, clunky, and it doesn't feel good, you know?
And then there's like another version too, right? And I know people are like, well, what about Call of Duty? And it's like I feel like I'm fucking Superman when I'm playing Call of. If that makes it just call it even the more grounded version of the
Yeah,
newer Call of Duty. I played it. I
yeah.
downloaded the beta for it and I played it, and it feels really fucking good. It just still feels like twitchy, and I'm like, I don't.
It just
And
looks so fast.
yeah,
Like,
and then like Apex Legends, people are like Apex Legends is fucking twitchy. Yeah, it is, but
but
I
it's like
have a reaction time to it. Like I could just like I don't know, I can outplay somebody. If I get shot in the back, I can turn around and outplay them. Like there's a chance for me to outplay somebody.
well, plus there's like abilities in that game as well, and there's different. I mean, it's just I don't know. It's hard to explain with Apex, but it feels right. Like the movement in that game feels right with the
Yeah,
time to kill and all that. Like you even if you get jumped by somebody, it's not a game where you're dead if you don't shoot first. You know, where Call of Duty has always been that game where if you're the one shooting first, you're gonna win 90% of the time unless you suck. You know, like you have a bad shot,
yeah,
and
exactly.
that is in a shooter that's that fast, it's not very enjoyable if you're not good at the game, you know? So,
In my opinion, now I know a lot of people do
yeah,
like those
true.
type of games. It's just
Absolutely.
in my
Right.
opinion, because I don't know, like yeah, Apex Legends, it's a Twitch shooter per se, but like yeah, like you said, even PUBG, if you want to go that route, say like if you get shot in the back in PUBG, that's it for you. But it's like it takes skill sometime to shoot somebody in the back. Like yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
can just camp.
shooting mechanics are where the game is different, right? Is
Yeah,
that being good at shooting in PUBG is actually difficult, whereas in the rest of these games, having good aim is not really that hard, you know?
exactly. Yeah,
Because recoil's barely even a thing, like it barely exists, and like I don't know, the fast movement doesn't really hurt you that much because there is no recoil. So
yeah,
whereas in
and
PUBG, if you moved as fast as you do in Apex and PUBG, you never hit anything with any of your shots because you're
exactly.
it's the way the game
And
control.
there isn't a good medium ground game. I wanted Call of Duty Warzone or Warzone to be that medium ground, but it's still a little bit too fast for my taste. And just
Yeah,
the way they do the loot system in that game is pretty weird too. Um, but like Halo, just switching back to Halo, I thought Halo 5 was that perfect um mashup of like the Call of Duty and the arena shooter. Halo 5 was like, and it had the bits of Halo 2 in it. It was just really, really well done. As far as like, I felt like when I got shot, it was my fault. I could have done stuff differently. I watched replays. Oh, I could have positioned myself better here. I could have did a four shot. I could have four shot the opponent here. Oh, that's why I didn't. That's why when I did that BR battle with him, I lost because I actually missed a shot. Like everything's really, really, really thought out as far as like gunpowder and things of that nature. Um, because it's four shots, three shots to the body and one to the head. That's how you kill somebody with BR. And it's like everyone knows that. And that's what people go for. They got sniper placements on the map. They'll tell you when sniper spawns. Almost sort of like Dragon on fucking League of Legends, how it has a timer when the dragon is about to spawn. They'll do that for sniper rifle. They'll do that for OS or overshield. For Invis, they'll do that. And it was just really thought out, and that's what I want. And granted, we didn't see the one for Halo fucking Infinite. We didn't see the multiplayer for that. I just hope they do. I hope they expand upon that one. That's what I'm really worried about. As far as the campaign, yes, they need to scrap everyone who did Halo 5's campaign. I'm sorry, it was fucking abysmal.
yeah, yeah.
Um, And unfortunately, it looks like this creator, not the creative director, but the lead left. So I mean, it's like I, I don't know, man.
I mean, as long as they keep that core of you're kind of running around a Halo ring, and the whole game kind of takes place on a Halo ring,
Yeah,
I love that idea. I'm in on that personally because that's the appeal of Halo. The first Halo to me is still the best Halo because you were on a Halo ring, and like that was the whole game, was trying to figure out what the fuck this thing is, you know?
yeah,
And it was this weird like alien construct, and it was really interesting. Like it had all these interesting things in it, you know? So that's kind of what appeals to me from a story perspective with this game. And I kind of hope they stick to that. And along with all these other things that you're talking about, is that, yeah, I think like getting back to the point about Destiny real quick, is that Destiny is that middle ground that you were talking about
yeah.
in a shooter. It's not really, I wouldn't call Destiny a Twitch shooter. Like it's that not really how it plays.
Hmm.
You're not, your movement speed is not that fast. Like you are not, it's not like Apex. Like you're not moving like Apex or COD. And I'd say gun control is nearly perfect, you know, in terms of the way it feels versus recoil, all that stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, we're gonna keep, obviously this game is of high interest, I think, to us, in terms of just like from a project standpoint, just seeing kind of how it comes out and the way Microsoft manages this studio. It's just really unfortunate that Microsoft, like we've been giving Microsoft a lot of props lately, but I will say this is one aspect of them that they really need to improve, is their management of their studios. Like adding all these studios over the last 2 or 3 years, you know, is great and all, but if you manage them all like the way you've managed 343, then it's not going to come much. Not much is going to come of it, you know.
Yeah, I think
And
they should try to get someone from Sony. Whoever
yeah,
manages their studios, their first party studios, does a fucking phenomenal job as far as
right,
green lighting projects. Because I'm still really upset about Rare's latest project. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck is even that? And it's like, I and it's funny, right? Because their other team, the Coalition, is doing fucking phenomenal with fucking Gears of War 5. Like everyone unanimously
mhm,
agrees that Gears of War 5 is really fucking good. They're like, holy shit, like this game is
right,
actually really good. And, and it's just like Halo, the studio who's doing that, they can't get their shit right. And this is like one of their first party studios, if that makes any sense, since
yeah.
like everyone left. So
Their crown jewel as an IP.
yeah,
Like this is the biggest IP they have. This is their Mario, you know?
yeah,
And the fact that they've kind of let 343 fumble the IP so much over the last 10 years is, it's kind of weird, man. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just something like like as I said, as much as we've given them praise, like this is an area where like they need to be criticized, because you can't do this with something like Halo, you know. And this game has to be good, you know. It cannot be bad. Like it frankly, they can't have another game like Halo 5. Like Halo 5 was a disappointment, I think, to everybody. Even though I didn't play it, that was kind of my impression from all the coverage I saw and all the opinions I've seen of that game. Is the common denominator is that the game was disappointing. The story wasn't that great, and it's just like that is a big part of Halo.
yeah,
Whether, no matter what you say about the multiplayer, the multiplayer is very important for Halo, but the story's always been important too. So I think it's something that like they got to manage this, and they need to slow down, I think, too, with the acquisitions. I know Phil Spencer's like talked about they want to acquire more. Is like, look, maybe slow down and like see if you can even land some of these games first, you know, because some of the stuff you've been releasing lately has fallen flat on its face. Like that game, what was that one? We didn't talk about it last week, but the one from Ninja Theory, the multiplayer like arena
oh yeah,
game.
Bleeding Edge.
Yeah, Bleeding Edge, that game's basically already fucking dead, and it's like been out for 6 months. Like that one's been a flop. Then there's Grounded from Obsidian. Like there was a little bit of buzz around that game, but I haven't heard about that game since it came out, basically, and I don't really think most people care about it. Then there's the one from Rare that you were just talking about, like the one that they greenlit, that one, and it's just like it's like these, you got to hit some of these, Microsoft. Like you can't keep releasing these duds, you know, with these high profile studios at this point. Like these are not crap teams that you have here, you know. You have
Yeah,
good talent. now. You have good IPs in your repertoire. Like, use them properly, And I don't know. It's like, is Grounded really what Obsidian should be using their time for? I know you want to give them freedom, but there is a limit to that, Like, Sony's not letting one of their studios make a game like that. No offense. Like, I don't know. So I think it's something that we really need to monitor with them. Is like, these first party games from them need to start being good, and need to like actually hit, because if they don't, then we're in the same spot we were last generation. It's just they have more first party games and they're mediocre, so we'll see. All right, let's move on. We got speaking of BioWare, that we were talking about a little bit there. They released an update on Anthem, the Anthem rebuild, and they kind of detailed some of the changes that they're going to be doing with Javelin customization, skill trees, and some of the itemization, and even some interface stuff a little bit. And Montrell, you told me you did read through this. So there were a lot of changes detailed here. And I'm going to go through the main bullet points here. So they said that you'll be able to reliably create builds. So abilities are now unlocks instead of drops, which was kind of a big problem with the original game.
Yep.
So you can pick the abilities you want whenever you want. You're not having to hope for a drop to come for you to be able to use your abilities. There will be mods to those abilities, though. So you'll be able to enhance them through itemization. There will be synergies within these builds, and there'll be specializations, abilities, and equipment all kind of synergizing together to make a build, which is the way these games should work. And then then they said there's going to be skill trees, so provide choice and progression through skill trees. Your javelins will now be able to level up, awarding you skill points. So you'll have different progression for each javelin type rather than having an overall character level.
Oh my goodness. Yes, BioWare.
And then you have specializations within those javelin types that will be advanced skill trees. So you'll have a specialization. There'll be 3 different choices for, say, the ranger, and then there will be advanced skill trees within each one of those specializations for you to further customize these javelins. Then there will be, let's see, what are the other ones here? They talked about artifacts a little bit. Yeah, that was pretty much it. It was mostly skill tree stuff. They did mention a little bit about customization and cosmetics, but the main stuff to come out of this is that itemization is going to be a bit different, and that there will be true customization for each javelin, which is exactly what me and Montrell were saying when we played this fucking game. That the javelins should be distinct, their own entities, and have their own kind of progression curves and feels and all that stuff, right? So, Montrell, what did you think about this whole thing?
Whoever is like running this project, I feel like they're either really listening to feedback or they're fucking a hidden member of this fucking podcast or one of our listeners, because this is exactly what the fuck I wanted. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I wanted Iron Man but Diablo, and this is what the fuck I got. And I mean, like, the Ranger, just the 3 classes they described are all support classes. Like, the captain, the longbowman, and the soldier. Like, maybe the soldier's more DPS, but the longbowman and the captain sound like support classes that buff up people, that buff teammates and stuff like that. And that's what I wanted when I played this game. When me and Justin played this, and one of our other friends played this game, we saw the vision. Like, there was a tank class, there was a wizard class, which was the what was it called? The
storm.
The storm something. Storm Javelin? Was it the Storm Javelin?
Oh no, it was Storm something. Storm Touch? No, I don't remember, dude.
It played like a wizard class. Like, it was, dude, like.
Can you hold on, Montrell? I gotta interrupt you really quick. Can you believe that it's been a fucking like almost 2 years since we played this game?
Really?
Yes. This podcast has been going for almost 2 years, and we played Anthem 2 months after we started, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. Insane. But sorry, continue.
No, that's crazy.
Dude.
But yeah, like and then they had the Colossus, which was obviously the tank. The Rogue or the Rent. Yeah,
The
I think it was
Interceptor, yeah, which was
Interceptor was the
the
Rogue.
melee speedy rogue
Yeah.
one. Yep.
Um, and then obviously the main one, which is the Ranger, which was like a javelin type or a support class. And we saw the vision, and that's why I'm so glad they didn't give up on this game, because this game has the potential to be the quote unquote Destiny killer. But this game
Yep.
has the potential to be one of the best games that come out current gen slash next gen. Um,
Yep.
and I think when they relaunch it and then they get their streamers to start streaming this game, it's going to be curtain for everybody, because people are going to be like, now, now, obviously
Yeah.
that wasn't the only problem. The
Mhm.
other issue was enemies and content. Like that
Yep.
was the biggest thing. Like honestly,
They
I
don't
think
mention anything about those here,
they
so
don't. I think that's why I don't know. I'm not really gonna say too much here about it, because they didn't mention it. Obviously, they still have a lot of work to go. But that was the main thing. I would have continued to play the game. They just had way more content. Um,
right.
both I think both of us would have continued to play the game. They just had way more content in the current
Yeah.
phase.
Oh, dude, nothing. It was crazy. I just yeah, there was nothing, dude. It was
Yeah,
worse than base Destiny, like,
yeah, yeah,
and that's bad.
yeah. That is pretty bad.
So
But yeah, I think this game has the potential to be like the next Division. How Division was shitty as fuck and then just blew up out of nowhere. I think this game has that potential. Um, I just wish, I hope companies learn from this generation not to release a live service game when it's not ready, because we will shit on it and people will shit on it.
I think Anthem's a unique situation, right? The fact that they worked on it for like 8 years and like nothing came of that 8 years, is just I don't I think EA was between a rock and a hard place. Like they kind of had to get this game out, but it was in an unacceptable state,
Yeah,
at the time it came out. So I don't know. It is what it is. We are where we are with it, right? They're fixed. They're trying to fix it, and I'm glad. I'm like you. I'm very happy that they're not dropping this game, because I think the unfortunate part about it is I think a lot of people are sleeping on this kind of rebuild of this game, because this blog post dropped and a lot of the reactions I saw was like, "Oh, you guys are still fucking working on this? Like, why? Move on to something else?" And it's like, you guys are like, let them work, okay? We might not get this for another year and maybe even more than that, which I mean seems insane, but I think there's a very small team working on this, unfortunately, which means it's going to take time to get this game out. But um, I think they're on the right track here. This is very, very encouraging what I'm seeing here. And when they do start talking about content and then enemies and other stuff and even new environments, maybe that is I'm very excited about that. It's just I think I'm with you. Like if they can get this right and they can get this out like this, dude, I'm just hoping that this game can find a community once it's re-released, because I want to play this. Like I'm looking at this right now and I want to fucking play this game. Like, is like I just love the idea of this. Is that the javelins, dude? The javelin system is so built for a live service game, because you can release new ones over time and they have their own fucking specializations and itemization and stuff. And it's like they're literal classes, like
yeah,
character classes, like another kind of RPG would be. And that is what the approach should have been from the jump, and it kind of was there. It just wasn't fleshed out. They didn't have any of this like deep customization, and I think this game, this kind of stuff like looks really encouraging. The interface already does look better, a little bit better with stuff. It does look really Destiny-ish, which is fine. I mean, like, dude, if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. Like don't waste your time trying to fix the interface when, who cares? Like, there's way more important things to worry about with this game. But I just hope it can
yeah,
find an audience again when it does re-release, because that's kind of my biggest concern, is that if they are not done for another year or two, like that will be literally almost 4 years from the game coming out to them like re-releasing their 2.0 version of the game, and at that point, is anyone really going to care? Because it's like it's literally a last gen game. It's like, is it gonna be on last gen at that point still, or are they just gonna put it on the next gen consoles and just leave those old versions behind? And are we all gonna have to rebuy the game at that point because of that? It's like there's a lot of questions with that. So we'll see. I mean, I'm definitely encouraged by this, but I need to see more, I think, before I can definitively say this is going to be amazing. But we'll see. Like you said, this game had a lot of potential, and I want to see it come to fruition. I really, really do. So I think this universe could be really cool. Moving forward. So we'll see. We're probably not going to get another one of these updates for 6 more months. So we'll kind of see, I guess, when the next one is. We'll definitely talk about it here on the show. But is there anything else you wanted to mention about this before we move on?
No, that's it.
All right, cool. Let's move on to our next story, which is another Genshin Impact status update on total sales of this fucking game. We are up to, this is as of October 27th. Is that the game has now made $245 million in a month. And that is only the mobile market that is being included in that data from Sensor Tower is where it's from. That doesn't include PC. It also does not include PS4. And it also doesn't include the Chinese Android market. So that is, without all those things, they've still made $245 million in 30 days. I mean, Montrell, what is there to say about this? This is insane. Like, this game is a bona fide hit, smash hit.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. It's just, that's what it is. What it is.
I mean, I'm gonna tell everybody here. I did show Montrell this. Is that they released a trailer for 1.1 version 1.1, which is coming out next week.
Yeah,
and dude, it is like one of the best trailers I've ever seen, and it's literally for like a minor version update. And I'm just like, man, this company is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Like, these guys are highly talented. There is no question about that. So yeah, 245 million, dude. Like, that beats Honor of Kings, which is a very popular mobile game, PUBG Mobile in its first 30 days, Pokemon Go in something called Monster Strike. So yeah, it's man, it's a beastly game with the monetization. Unfortunately, I think that's on the back of a predatory monetization scheme, which is, something we've talked about here on the show a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, it doesn't seem to matter, man. People are putting money into this game. So they people are really into the 2D sprite waifus, and now we're in the 3D, full 3D ones. And man, the potential is very high. So.
Yeah, just imagine when they start coming out with skins. It's over. It's over.
Dude, right? I'm telling you, man. Dude, you're not kidding, dude. You are not kidding. Because I love the characters I have at this point that I'm using. And I'm like, dude, they give me like a Santa Claus outfit on fucking the Traveler or something. And man, I'm all in on that, dude. Like, I will buy that and use it, It's like, man, so yeah. We'll see. I think we were talking about this off mic, is that I think at this point this game is a shoo-in for $1 billion. I don't know how soon that's going to be, but dude, if they keep up this pace, I mean, they're on pace for 4 months. I don't think they're going to hit that. I think it'll be more realistically like 6 to 8 months. But dude, that is insanely fast to make that kind of money. So we'll keep you guys updated. I guess I'll say that. So. Okay. Next one is another kind of earnings story, and this one is about Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard reported that their microtransactions, just their microtransactions, netted over $1.2 billion last quarter. Not the year, just the quarter, 3 months. 3 months. Montrell, what are we doing, man?
I don't know. Are these like? So these are microtransactions from like
all their games,
Call of Duty, Warzone. Okay.
Yeah, right. World of Warcraft, whatever the fuck. Blizzard's games, they all have microtransactions.
I think a lot of this is from Modern Warfare. I don't think this is from Blizzard.
Yeah, that's exactly what the story says. Call of Duty, Warzone, and Modern Warfare netted the most in microtransactions. What I don't understand, dude, is like, I've not played a COD game, so what are the microtransactions in this game even look like? Are they cosmetics?
Well, they have battle passes. Yeah, it's battle passes, cosmetics. For your, you can buy different
military shooter. How good are the cosmetics?
You can buy different operators and different skins for the operators and stuff like that. They don't have any special abilities. They just change your look.
Okay, so they cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then you have different skins for like I think like
Yeah,
over 40 or 50 different weapons. Like
yeah,
you can unlock the skins traditionally, or you can just buy them. A lot of people just buy
mhm,
them. So
yeah.
not to mention banners, and then like your name, your clan tag that has like little specialized banners. You can have like little animated banners where you kill
They're
somebody.
monetizing every piece of this game's
Yeah,
cosmetic element.
exactly. So it's a
Okay.
lot of monetization. Like I said, you can buy the battle pass, or you can just buy all that shit separately. Because
I
they
mean,
they advertise it as soon as you log in, they want you to buy the battle pass. Like as soon as you
right.
log in.
Well, Montreal, like, are we doomed, man?
Yeah, it's
Like we're dead, huh? Like gaming is just like we're too far gone at this point, aren't we?
I like I said, I think it's a necessary evil at this point.
Yeah, right. If we're gonna get games like Genshin Impact, fuck, they're gonna have microtransactions in them, and
Yeah, and but the thing is, like, I look at like Nintendo for example, and like Dragalia Lost or whatever. And they probably reallocate funds for some of their higher profile studios, like the Metroids, the Mario's, and stuff
well,
like
I'd say
that.
Fire Emblem Heroes definitely did that, right, for
E-
intelligent systems,
exactly.
right? Like Fire Emblem Three Houses is one of the best Fire Emblems they've ever released, and I'd say that's definitely in large part due to the success of Fire Emblem Heroes. So, as much as I like, that's the thing. I hope these funds are used responsibly. Like for somebody like Activision Blizzard, unfortunately, they're not. you know, they're not gonna put this into a game that like. I mean, I say that, and then they release like uh, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy or Crash 4. So I mean, even maybe they're doing it a little bit. To be fair, I guess it's just that like I mean we talk about these things and we are critical of it a lot on the show, and it's like I'm part of the problem. It's like I'm not buying microtransactions. It's like I cannot sit here and say that. So and I know you've bought them somewhat a little bit too in the past. So it's
Yeah,
like I don't know, man. It's like it sucks that this is the reality that this is necessary for the future of video games. But I guess if we're going to keep asking for a higher bar in terms of quality,
yeah,
some games are going to have these things. It just kind of is what it is. And I mean, I do appreciate the guys out there and the gals who are screaming about microtransactions on YouTube. I do. We need them. We do need them. So. But at the same time, it's like we kind of have to accept that this is something like there's got to be a middle ground with this stuff. So I don't know. It's a lot of money though. $1.2 billion in a quarter. That is insane. Just off microtransactions, man. All right. Let's move on. We got a couple more stories to talk about here. So we talked about a couple weeks ago that Sony released a list of games that aren't going to work on PlayStation 5, like PS4 games that aren't going to work on PlayStation 5. And there was not a lot of games on that list. However, we had an interesting thing happen last week. Ubisoft came out of their own volition and published a list of games that they said are not going to be compatible with backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5. And this list of games was Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Chronicles Trilogy Pack, Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia, Risk, Star Trek Bridge Crew, Wolves Within, and Space Junkies. And none of these games are recent. I'm pretty sure all these games are from like 2016 or earlier, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure on the last few, but the Assassin's Creeds definitely are pretty old. However, they then deleted this list, and PlayStation came out and said this was inaccurate. And Ubisoft released an update saying, quote, "We have pulled the Ubisoft Connect article and forum post backwards compatibility for the time being, as there may be inaccuracies involving the Ubisoft titles that will be playable on PS5. I mean, Montrell, like, what do you make of this? Do you think this list is true? Do you think Sony tested these games and is like, Ubisoft, what the fuck are you talking about? Or do you think there's some kind of miscommunication going on? Or do you think this might be opening Pandora's box here, that there's going to be a lot more games not compatible than we thought on PlayStation 5.
Honestly, I was ready to tear Sony apart, but honestly, we just gotta wait. To be honest with you, I don't know. It's hard for me to make that call. To be honest with you, um, it is weird that Sony has been doing a lot of weird stuff this week. This one guy I follow named Nibelion, he puts up a lot of news and stuff like that, and stuff that gets leaked or whatever, but like not illegally leaked. Like all the stuff that comes out are like from Kotaku articles or whatever the case, sources they have.
Right.
So, but Sony went on a copyright strike of GIFs, like the Spider-Man GIFs were taken down.
Yeah. Huh.
Which was weird. So I don't. And then around that same time, when this news broke out as well, that Ubisoft tweet got deleted, or they didn't really delete it. They did delete it, but Sony came out, or Ubisoft came out and said like, well, we're still testing it, and Sony was like, well, all of these games are backwards compatible, and it was just a weird dichotomy going on. So I don't know. I don't think this will open up the Pandora's box for other games. But we did say earlier in the episode, or not early in this episode, but early episodes ago, that I think you said it, that if they said, hey, all of our games are backwards compatible, and then these 5 popular games aren't, that's going to look really bad for them. And I think that's what's happening here in this instance. Well, or they're trying to prevent that from happening in this instance.
That is kind of the thing. Like, this better be not true, because if it is true and Sony's just trying to make Ubisoft cover it up, that's going to look really bad in a week or two when these consoles are out and people start testing these games out, because there's going to be people out there testing games, just because they want to, because Sony has been so back and forth about what game, like how much backwards compatibility, like how many games are backwards compatible on PlayStation 5. And this has been my concern from the jump that they've been so cagey about this, is that when they released that list, I kind of thought that was putting it to bed, but this kind of reopens the door for me that I'm like, I don't know if I can trust Sony here. Like, and I don't think they would knowingly lie about this. I really don't believe they would do that. That almost feels like it'd probably be illegal in some countries. But at the same time, like, it's like they almost go out of their way not to know fully. It's I don't know, man. So I'm skeptical. I don't know. And I am going to be testing all of my games when I get the PlayStation 5 and see if they boot up, because that is very important to me. Like, I want my library to work. I do not want to have to keep my PlayStation 4. And so we're going to find out for sure. So all right, let's move on to our final story of the day. This is just kind of just an announcement for those of you who care about this. World of Warcraft had been delayed. World of Warcraft Shadowlands, rather, the expansion had been delayed out of October indefinitely, and they just announced a new release date for it. It is coming on November 23rd. As far as I know, the pre-patch for this expansion is already live in World of Warcraft and has made some significant changes to the game. So it might already be worth jumping back into it if you're interested. I may be checking this out myself. I keep saying that, and I'm not sure I'm going to follow through, but I want to. So, all right, let's call. We're going to do one more thing here. We're done with the stories for the week, but I think Montrell and I talked. We've kind of teased this for like a couple weeks, I feel like, and not done it, but we'll do this real quick. So, Next Gen launch is next week. And, there's a bunch of games coming out on both consoles. And I think it'd be a good idea to go through and just talk about the games that we are kind of excited about, I guess, from the new console that we may be checking out here in the short term once the console's on. So, Montrell, do you want to get us started with games that you are looking forward to, I guess, next week?
A big game I'm looking forward to is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Demon Souls, rather. I didn't buy Demon Souls. I'm pretty sure it's still going to be available to be bought. Or I can just download it digitally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, those are the big 2 games I'm looking forward to. And I'm also looking forward to Godfall. That game just looks really fucking dope to me.
Is that game co-op?
It is. It's a 4-player,
Okay.
I think co-op game.
So
I believe.
I yeah, I'm definitely interested in Spider-Man and Demon Souls for sure. I mean, Demon Souls, dude, Demon Souls looks fucking insane to me. Like in term graphically, just looks like ridiculously bonkers. Like
Yeah.
I was like mind blown by like how good the game looked. I mean, it's exclusive to PS5, so it looks like a truly like next gen experience on that front. So definitely interested in that for sure. And yeah, Godfall for me, I'm interested almost more because you're interested. I kind of trust your judgment with games at this point. So I'm like, I mean, if Montrell thinks it looks good, I'm might be worth giving it a shot. And if it has co-op, might be a good game for us to play together on the launch and kind of put some of the network features of PlayStation 5 through its paces.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so those three, and then one more for me is Sackboy: A Big Adventure. This game
Mm.
actually looks really cool to me. I've never been a big fan of Little Big Planet, but that was when it was a 2D platformer, and this is more of like a 3D kind of platformer. In the vein of those old like mascot platformers from the
Yeah.
90s and early 2000s. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. So I'm I'd say I'm fairly excited about that one too. It's 4 games and 2 of them cost 70. They have a $70 price tag. So I don't think I'm going to be able to play all 4 of these, but I'm going to have to pick and choose. I'm definitely going to get one at bare minimum. I'd say Spider-Man for sure. And then maybe one of the other 3. So we'll kind of see what happens there, but is there anything on Xbox that you're looking forward to?
I'm actually looking. So I think I'm gonna have Xbox as my third party go to because I really want to play some of the other games enhanced. Because PlayStation doesn't really offer that feature, whereas Xbox is going to be enhancing a lot of its games.
Yeah.
So on the Xbox, if I do manage to get my hands on it by December or something of that nature, I want to play like Cyberpunk on it. I want to play Assassin's Creed and Valhalla on it.
Mm.
Yeah, just a lot of third party games that probably can get enhanced or whatever the case may be. If there's not already a Xbox Series X version of it, they'll at least upgrade it to make it look decent enough to be on the Xbox Series X, or make it 60 frames per second or something of that nature. So I think that's a real go-to for Xbox. I didn't really think about it until a couple weeks ago, when I wanted to play certain games, and PlayStation's like, well, we're not going to take the time to upgrade anything. And Xbox was like, well, we're going to upgrade almost all the games that come up. You get the free upgrade, or they're going to have like some kind of, Xbox boost on there or something of that nature.
Enhancement, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big problem with PlayStation is I don't know. Like you said with Cyberpunk is like how we talked about last week, like they're not saying the game's coming out on those consoles natively.
Exactly, yeah.
10th, so like the Xbox version, the Xbox Series X version of the game might actually be the best version on consoles just because Xbox is going out of their way to make sure they have enhancements for games, whereas PlayStation is kind of, I think, really putting that on the developers themselves of whatever game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I want to play Destiny too, right? So it's like
Mm,
I don't want to play that on the PlayStation because I don't know if it's going to use the PlayStation's infrastructure, like the PlayStation 5's power. It still may be emulated on the PlayStation 5, so it may just be using regular PS4 Pro Tech.
right.
Um,
Oh man.
Whereas if I play it on the Xbox, I know for a fact it's going to get boosted. It's going to be running whether it be at 1440p 60 frames per second or 1080p 60 frames per second. It's still going to be running at 60 frames per second.
Right.
I think on the Xbox Series X, because like I said, that's their niche, is they're going to boost a lot of their games, and I can't see them having exclusive content for Destiny 2 without them boosting it for the Xbox Series X. That just literally doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah, it definitely would not.
Yeah, and uh that may be the go-to for Xbox. I think I didn't think about it now because we were all hyped on on the dopium of like, fucking dopamine of the first parties from PlayStation, but then I started looking at the third parties, and it's like they're not releasing. Some of them are not releasing Xbox Series X versions or PlayStation 5 versions. They're just releasing regular versions or the last gen consoles.
Yeah.
But Xbox is boosting that, and that's just such a plus for me. I'm like, maybe I should have got the Xbox Series X, and I just should have just held off on the first party titles. Like I could always get Spider-Man, stuff like that, but
right.
I don't see myself buying third party games on PlayStation 5.
Okay.
If that makes any sense, until they're natively for the PS5.
PS5. Yeah, because it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to get those comparisons for sure of like back compat on games that are coming out now, like something like Watch Dogs, right? That you buy on PS4 or Xbox One, and then you automatically get to you play it through back compat on the next gen consoles. Like, how does that game play on each one? Like how is it enhanced? Like how does it feel? Is the frame rate the same as it is on Xbox One and PS4, or is it up to 60? Like what are the differences on each console? So I'm gonna be really interested in that for sure, and we'll try to cover that if we can, depending on our own experiences with some of these games too. So we'll be interested to see that. So I mean, I'm getting excited, man. We're a week out. I'd say we are 9 days out from the day recording right now, from when the console is coming out. So we're getting close, man. We are approaching next generation, and this is a situation where hopefully most of us who buy next gen can just immediately box up and put away our old consoles because we are not going to need them anymore. That is what is really exciting, because that didn't happen this generation because there was no back compat on either console, and I was still playing PS3 in like 2014, because there were no games on PS4 yet. So that's not really happening. That's not really going to happen this time. So this feels like a real exciting next gen launch, for the first time in like 15 years for me, and I'm really starting to get pretty hyped about it. So we're not going to have thoughts on next week's show, obviously, because of the timing of when we record versus when the consoles are coming out. But a couple weeks from now, hopefully we'll have the consoles at that point, and we'll be able to at least give some cursory thoughts as we start using them. So anything else you want to talk about there, Montrell? Games you're excited about or console stuff?
No, that's it.
Alrighty, cool. Well, we're about to hit 1 hour 30 here on the show. So nice tight show this week. So if you like the show, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on. And please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is it. That's going to be it for us, guys. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you on the next one. All right? Bye.